Assalamualaikum. Animal Form and Function 2, Lecture 7. Students, we will discuss the mammalian digestive system today. It is a diagram that shows mammalian digestive system with salivary glands, stomach, esophagus, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, small intestine that contain duodenum, jejunum, ileum part. Large intestine contains cecum, colon and rectum part. Today we will discuss about mammalian digestive system, gastrointestinal motility and its control, oral cavity, pharynx and esophagus, stomach, small intestine, the main site of digestion. The mammalian digestive system. Human, pigs, bears, raccoon, those are omnivores. So their digestive system have some adaptations for plants and flesh-eating material. They process many kind of foods and their alimentary canal is like this. The outer covering is serosa, then underneath serosa there are longitudinal muscles, and underneath longitudinal muscles there are smooth circular muscles. Both longitudinal and circular muscles are smooth muscles. There are no skeletal muscle, no cardiac muscle. Underneath circular muscles there is submucosa and then mucosa and then lumen. Lumen is the empty part in the canal or from where food can pass. Lumen is a cavity. Processes involved in digestion. Digestion processes involve ingestion, that is intake of food, then peristalsis. Peristalsis is alternate wave of contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles present in the digestive tract. So that peristalsis will move the food from oral cavity, esophagus to the stomach. Then segmentation. Segmentation is also the muscular movement in which the small intestine or intestine, large intestine move the food forward. Then secretions. Secretions are the digestive enzymes produced by the pancreas. Also, these secretions include some ions, bicarbonate ions into the intestine by intestinal cells. Then digestion. Digestion is the mechanical or chemical breakdown of the food. Finally, absorption. Absorption is the absorption of the material by the cells, that are amino acids, fatty acids, glucose. Then defecation, that is the removal of feces from the body outside the environment. Gastrointestinal motility and its control. Gastrointestinal tract. Types of tissues. It contains serosa, the thin layer of connective tissue. Peritoneum, that serosa forms. Peritoneum is a moist epithelial sheath. This peritoneum lines the entire abdominal cavity, that is your coelom, and covers all internal organs. Just consider the gout you observed on the Eid event, that there is a thin slimy layer that is transparent, that covers all body organs, that is stomach, intestine, liver, pancreas. All internal organs are covered by that slimy white layer, that is peritoneum. Or longitudinal and smooth muscle layer are present, that give the elasticity to the digestive tract. Circular smooth muscles also give the elasticity. Same diagram. Submucosa is consisted on connective tissue, blood vessels and lymphatic vessels. Mucosa and then lumen. Two types of movements include peristalsis and segmentation, as I discussed you earlier. Peristalsis. During peristalsis, rings of circular smooth muscles contract behind it and then relax in front of it. Or you can say the alternate wave of contraction and relaxation will move the food forward, analogous to squeezing icing from a pastry tube. Here is the peristalsis. So in the first diagram you see the food, bolus is there, and then this food will move downward towards the sphincter, and then sphincter will open and food will move to the stomach. Segmentation is the rings of smooth muscles repeatedly contract and relax, creating an oscillating back and forth movement, mix the food with digestive secretions and increase efficiency of the absorption. Basically, just consider the goat on Bakra Eid, that intestine present in the goat. If you remove the intestine from the goat body, still that intestine shows the movement, and this movement will be back and forth, forward backward, and this forward backward movement will move the food in the forward direction, and that is the segmentation. Here you see segmentation, movement of material back and forth to foster mixing into small intestine, and it mixes the chyme with rhythmical local contraction of the intestine, so chyme will be mixed there. That is alternate wave of contraction and relaxation. It is more faster than peristalsis. Sphincters. Sphincters are just behave like the valves, and it prevents backflow. These are basically rings of smooth or skeletal muscles at the beginning and the ends, just to prevent backflow of the food material. There are two sphincters in the stomach, cardiac sphincter and pyloric sphincter. In case of intestine, there will be anal sphincter, ileocecal sphincter. Here you see the diagram. Sphincter in the upper esophageal area. So your esophagus have the sphincter. Food once move into esophagus will not move backward into your mouth. That is esophageal sphincter. Then lower esophageal sphincter or the cardiac sphincter. That is at the junction of esophagus and the stomach. Then pyloric sphincter. That is in the at the end of stomach, and at the joining point of small intestine to the stomach there will be pyloric sphincter. Then at the junction of small intestine and large intestine there will be ileocecal sphincter, and at the anal area there will be anal sphincters. Anal sphincters made up of two types, interior and exterior. Control of gastrointestinal activity. Gastrointestinal activity is controlled by the volume of the food, how much volume you take, composition of the food. If you eat the dietary fiber, then movement will be easy. If you eat very fine food, then movement will be slow. For example, ingested food distends the gut and stimulates the mechanical receptors in the gut wall. If you take the food, then this will create tension into the gut, and mechanically it will be stimulated. Digestion of carbohydrates, lipids and proteins stimulate various chemical receptors in the gut wall. So if you eat carbohydrates, lipids or proteins, then these elements will stimulate gut wall to produce different type of enzymes. Signal travel nerve fluxes in the gut wall to control the muscular activity. Now peristalsis. Peristalsis is the alternate movement of contraction and relaxation in the gut. Segmentation same, backward and forward movements. Secretions of various substances that includes mucus and enzymes. Mucus is produced by the stomach just to prevent HCl action on the stomach wall, or it is produced by the gut for slippery movements. Then enzymes will be produced by the digestive system, and each organ have different type of enzymes, like your oral cavity that contains amylase. Salivary amylase will digest your carbohydrates. Then stomach will produce pepsin to digest the proteins. Then pancreatic juice that produce amylase, lipase, trypsin to digest carbohydrates, proteins and lipids. And long distance nerve pathways connect. So vagus nerve control the digestive moves. Receptors are there, receptors in the gut. So distension or the food, special type of food will stimulate the receptors, and these receptors will send message to the CNS and with effectors. Effectors will show the response. Maintain homeostasis in the gut, water and salt balance, acidity in the gut cavity, and the endocrine gland regulates the digestion, that is digestive action, secretion and the absorption. Regulation of gastric activity. The nervous and endocrine system collaborate to increase gastric secretions and motility when food is eaten, and to suppress them when the stomach empties. Gastric activity is divided into three phases: the cephalic phase, gastric phase and intestinal phase. Stomach is being controlled by the brain. The stomach is controlling itself in the gastric phase, and the intestinal phase, stomach is being controlled by the small intestine. The cephalic phase is directly controlled by CNS and prepares the stomach to receive food. So if you feel hunger, that is because of your brain. Your sight, smell, taste or thought of food are the stimuli. Then your stomach will be controlled by the vagus nerve, will produce mucus by the mucus cells, HCl, pepsinogen, mucus from mucus cells, pepsinogen by chief cells, HCl by Prater cells, and G cells will produce the gastrin, that is hormone. Now the oral cavity. Oral cavity that consists on your lips. Pair of lips are present where sensation is more powerful. They protect the oral cavity. So once you food take inside, then this will prevent flow of food outward. Highly vascularized and skeletal muscular tissues are present. Abundance of sensory nerve endings retain food and produce the different type of sounds. So if you speak, then your lips move in different directions. Here is oral cavity that contain lips, teeth, hard palate, soft palate, and retromolar, trigone, tongue, then your gums, gingiva, then vulva, tonsil, buccal mucosa, and floor of your mouth, and especially your tongue. Now oral cavity contains tongue and teeth. Teeth are covered with enamel, that is hard covering, and will protect your teeth. So if you eat very salty food or very sweet food, then this will just damage the enamel and your teeth will become sensitive. Your jaws and teeth exert a strong force, so you can chew, you can crush the things, the food. Then saliva. Saliva is basically a watery fluid that moistens the food, binds it with mucin, that is a glycoprotein, forms the ingested food into bolus. Bicarbonate ions, which buffer the chemicals, so it neutralizes the pH. Thiocyanate ions, and enzyme lysozyme that kill microorganisms, and enzyme amylase carbohydrate digestion. Pharynx and esophagus. Pharynx is common passageway for digestive respiratory tract, and it contains the epiglottis. Epiglottis is sealed by the glottis, leads to trachea. So when you swallow, then epiglottis will cover the glottis, and swallowing reflex voluntary, sometime involuntary. swallowing जो आप निगलते हो वो sometime, बल्कि many time आपकी अपनी मर्जी से होता है, लेकिन बाज़ औक़ात वो इनवॉलंटरी भी होता है, आप ना चाहते हुए भी निकलते हो. Here is a diagram. Nasal cavity, then hard palate, tongue is a muscular structure, then epiglottis, that is a cover, and larynx, trachea, esophagus. Swallowing. When swallowing begins, it is sequential. Involuntary contractions is smooth muscles of the esophagus. So it propels the bolus into the esophagus and then stomach, liquid to the stomach, and pharynx and esophagus don't contribute digestion. So pharynx and esophagus are not involved in the digestion. They are just passageway. Swallowing. So how you swallow? That is bolus of food. Then tongue blocks oral cavity, so food will not move outside, and then food will go inside to the pharynx and to the esophagus. Stomach. The mammalian stomach is a muscular distendable sac, so it can be stretched. There are three main functions. It stores and mixes the food bolus received from the esophagus. It secretes the substances, includes enzymes, mucus, and hydrochloric acid. It helps to control the rate at which food moves into small intestine via the pyloric sphincter. So if pyloric sphincter is not present, then food will just move to the stomach and then small intestine, or maybe from small intestine to back to stomach. Stomach is made up of inner mucous membrane with gastric glands, and there are three types of cells: parietal cells, chief cells, and mucus cells. Parietal cells secrete HCl, chief cells pepsinogen, and mucus cells secrete mucus. Here is a diagram. So stomach mucosa. Stomach layer is consisted on top layer, surface layer, then gastric glands, mucus glands, chief cells, and parietal cells. Pepsinogen is produced by the cells, and in the presence of HCl, it will be converted into pepsin that digests the proteins. Vomiting. Why vomiting can cause a burning sensation in the esophagus mouth. Endocrine cells in the stomach mucosa release hormone gastrin, which travels to target cells in the gastric glands and further stimulating them. Digestion. Bolus enters the stomach, distends the wall of the stomach, and produces the HCl and pepsinogen. The H ions cause pepsinogen to be converted into active enzyme pepsin. So HCl is involved in the pepsinogen activation. Pepsin, mucus, and HCl mixes and will digest the proteins. Smooth mucosal muscle contract, churn, and mixes the bolus, and there 3 to 4 hours after the meal, your food will convert into chyme. The pyloric sphincter regulates the chyme and will move them into intestine, small intestine. Hunger pangs. So when the stomach is empty, peristaltic waves cease. After 10 to 12 hours of fasting, New waves may occur in the upper region of the stomach, and sensory nerve fibers carry impulses to the brain, result hunger pangs. Thanks.